I'm Kat, and this tutorial is how to make this Star of David friendship bracelet. I made this pattern really simplified. It's just the Star of David. It doesn't have any borders on it, and that way it's not too many strings and it's a little bit more straightforward, and I'll also link the pattern in the description below. Alright, so this is the pattern I'm using. Again, my printer cuts off the top. I don't know why it does that. So for this I did 1, 2, 3, 4.5 of my 65-inch strings in the background color. I'm using blue. And then for the star, I'm using yellow. So I did 1, 2.5, because if you cut your strings to 65 inches, you can just fold them over and it makes 2 of your strings up here. So I just did 2.5 strings, and then I added my half strings in with the knot at the top, and I've clipped it up and arranged my strings, and I'm ready to get started. I've got 2 blue, and then for the next knot, blue and yellow, another blue and yellow, another blue then yellow, blue then yellow, blue then yellow, and the last 2 are blue once again. So my entire first row is going to be forward, backward knots. Now for the second row, the outer strings will come out. Start with 1 backward forward. 1 forward. 2 backward forward. 1 forward backward. And 1 backward forward. For the third row, bring back your outer strings. Start with 4 forward backward. One backward. One forward. And 1 forward backward. For the fourth row, those outer strings come back out again. Start with 2 forward backward. One forward. One backward. 1 backward forward. And 1 forward backward. For your fifth row, strings come back in. Start with 2 forward backward. One backward forward. Another backward forward. I guess I should have just told you 4. 2 more backward forward. And 1 forward backward. For the sixth row, outer strings come back out. Sorry my light keeps on changing. This is just one of those days when everything that can possibly go wrong in a video is... Alright, sixth row. Start with 2 backward forward. One backward. And 3 backward forward. Now for the seventh row, outer strings come back in. Start with 4 forward backward, one forward, one backward, and one forward backward. For the 8th row, those outer strings come back out again, backward forward, backward, two backward forward, one forward backward, and one backward forward. Now for the 9th row, your outer strings come back in. Start with one forward backward, one backward, one backward forward, one forward backward, two backward forward, and one forward backward. Now for the 10th row, do 5 backward forward, and one forward backward. For the 11th row, bring those strings back in. Start with one forward backward, one forward, one backward forward, one forward backward, one backward forward, one backward, and one forward. Bring those outer strings back out. Forward, backward. Forward. Backward, forward. Actually, you're going to do 3 backward, forward. And 1 forward, backward. Bring those outer strings back in. 1 forward, backward. 1 backward, forward. Forward, backward. Twice. Backward. And then twice more, do a backward, forward. Fourteenth row, those outer strings come back out. 1 forward. Backward, forward. Two forward. One backward, forward. And 1 forward, backward. 15th row, those strings come back in. 2 forward, backward. One backward, forward. 1 forward, backward. 1 backward, and 2 backward forward. Sixteenth row, those outer strings come back out. 1 backward, 2 backward forward, 1 forward, 1 backward, and 1 forward backward. Now for the 17th row, pull those strings back in, forward backward, one backward forward, forward backward, 2 backward forward, one backward, and 1 backward forward. Eighteenth, those outer strings come back out, forward, backward, forward, another forward, forward backward, backward forward. And now for the 19th row, bring back all your strings and do the entire row with forward backward. And for the next row, do all backward forward, leaving out your outer strings. Now bring your strings back in and do an entire row of forward backward again. And for your last row, you need to get everything back in the correct position to start the pattern over. And then do your entire last row in backward forward. And that is your completed pattern, and you just keep repeating this until your bracelet is as long as you want it. And normally I would do the whole bracelet on camera, but like I said, everything's going horribly wrong today, so I just want to get out from underneath my tripod, and I'll show you when I'm done with this. And when your bracelet is as long as you need it, finish it off with 2 knots and a couple of braids. And that is your finished bracelet.